Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's Lotus. So, I was debating on the topic, or rather the title for today, and I don't really know which one I'm going to land on, but they were between allowing your struggle to reveal your magnificence or allowing your struggle to reveal your dazzle. I love both of them, and really, as I was looking at the words and the frequencies for magnificence, dazzle was one of them. So as you know, I like the frequencies of the language that we use, and I like to really sit with them, feel them, and allow that frequency, that energetic expression to actually inform the sensation or the quality that it elicits from within. So we're going to use a lot of words, or at least I'm going to share a few words throughout this talk. But you know, the last video that I did about rising from the mud, like the lotus, that had that very effervescent, right? Reaching the light, imbibing the light, being the light. The sense of where we're going, the potentials of humanity as we continue along this trajectory that, as we've talked about, is now going to be quickened as we are now in the Aquarian age. But none of that means that we're going to be without struggle. We have a planet that is set up for polarity and duality, set up for deep density and high expressions of levity and light and love. And as we evolve, we're going to continue to hone both of these poles, finding harmony and balance, and then who knows what the evolution is actually going to be, you know, the more that we move into our divinity. So when we're looking at the struggle and working with struggle, so what's another word for struggle? Our shadow work, right? Our own darkness, our own ways that fear expresses itself in a myriad of its own frequencies and qualities. And everything in life. So I've been really pondering this recently as I myself have been going through this purification, deep purification process of allowing my struggle to reveal my dazzle or my magnificence or that deeper and higher truth. And we have many ways in which we talk about this, right? Our myths are laden with this dynamic from the darkness into light. So a few of them that I just want to illuminate as we move forward in this is that this is age old. The key is to come into relationship with our struggle, with our pain, with our suffering, with our challenges. Life is set up to show us our edges that need purifying, that need smoothing, that need healing. Anything that we think we're coming up against in people, personalities, places, things, situations that bring about an irritant within us is life bumping up against us to show us more clarity and more depth as to what we need to resolve within us. So some of the more commonly ways that we talk about this is, rising, the phoenix rising from the ashes. And it's a rebirth, right? Moving out of that fire at the end of its life before it, bursts into flames at its death. And then it's able to rebirth and resurrect as this magnificent, speaking of that word, magnificent bird that is all about resurrection and hope. And it energizes and it rebirths and it allows newness to be laid out before us. The alchemy, right? The alchemy of taking the base metal, let's just say of lead, and forging it in the fire to create gold, right? So this is an elemental reconstitution through fire, through heat. The forging of a metal into a shape is also this process of heat, right? It could be a struggle, we could say, for whatever that material is that's being forged and crafted and created and molded by this heat, by this fire. Another way that we look at it is, like I talked about in that last video, of the lotus or the dragonfly, right? Forever moving upward, 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 opening up to the light, going through the pain and the suffering of its own transformation. The hero's journey, right? That Joseph Campbell coined that term and also has written extensively about. It's that soul transformation through our inner adventure or life's adventure, where we meet trials and tribulations. And each trial and tribulation allows us then to continue to transform, to gain deep wisdom, deep knowing, and to come home to the self more fully, to connect to our own soul presence. So those are like these main ones that I think are used a lot in our spiritual teachings, just as the pearl that is formed from the oyster, literally from irritants in that oyster shell. And those irritants are then what forms the pearl, because the oyster is trying to protect itself, right? So that sand is in there and it's gritty. It's that grist for the mill, another saying. It's gritty. It's challenging. It might be painful or irritating to the oyster. So it sends off these fluids that then continue to create this pearl. And what I love about that example is that every struggle that we go through is an opportunity to be mining our depths for the jewel, the gemstone that we are. And this then delivers us into our magnificence, right? It is a truer state of being that comes from, that is birthed from, moving through challenges consciously, embracing them and inviting them in with the willingness or a desire, or even for some of us, right? It is part of our life's work. It is part of what we're here for, to be this alchemist of life, to be transforming consistently any karma that we are carrying into light, into clarity, into higher knowing, into deeper seeing, right? Into more love, into more acceptance, into those attributes that I talked about in the last video that mature us into a spiritual adulthood, which is very different than the programming that we are inundated with in our world today. So I want you just to stop and think for a minute. What is the biggest irritant in your life right now? What is that thing that just triggers you, right? Maybe it causes sadness or grief. Maybe it causes anxiety. Maybe it causes frustration and anger. Maybe it provokes a sense of powerlessness and fear. So just take a moment, just close your eyes and take a deep breath in. My guess is we don't have to look too far, right? Just look at what was the last thing that drove you a little crazy. And as you find it, just allow yourself to be connected to it. Don't push it away just for this minute. Just breathe and allow it to be there. When we can come into a place of rest without judging, without labeling, without making our experience bad or wrong, but recognizing that it is here as a sacred teacher. It is here to help us forge and form through the heat of that fear or that doubt, or that density of that sadness or grief that's unresolved, or that anxiety that feels like you're going to explode from the inside and lose control and something bad is going to happen. All of this is information. Just take a breath in. Exhale. And just for a moment, allow. Allow yourself to come into a place of acceptance. Just for this moment. Accept that this energy is talking to you. If it feels like it's coming from outside of you, that a situation is causing this, a person has made you feel a certain way, breathe in, exhale, and allow yourself to know that it's all just you. It is just you trying to get your attention so that you can become free. Maybe it is something that you don't like about you. And you're going to just hold it lightly. Just put your hands out in front of you even for a minute. Or a hands on your heart. Just let go of struggling. And allow your being to become present and soft. And just notice what happens when you allow this expression of you to be present. Allow yourself to recognize, oh, nothing is as it seems. There's always a deeper thread that life is streaming through our experiences, that is inviting us to recognize that everything is within us. And for every struggle that feels like it's externalized, that we come within and look deeper and do that shadow work. And we're not going to go into a full process here, but I want you just to know that there's this pocket that allows you time and space to practice being present with what shows up. And if you can continue to sit in that, sit in the discomfort. Discomfort, when it is brought to us through our lessons and our struggles, is not our enemy. It's not wrong or bad. We label these things as a way to understand. Oh, that's a negative experience. That's a negative feeling. Yes, it's dense. It has a negative connotation to it. It has a heaviness to it. But unless we transform these, they continue to come. Life continues to bring them to us. The more that we sit and we allow the healing process of every labeled negative or bad experience to reveal to us our truth, we gain in power. So if you want to just sit in that for a minute, if you'd like, you don't have to. And I want to just bring forth first what happens when we allow ourselves to consciously work through the things that we push away to avoid feeling uncomfortable. So we distract ourselves. We fill our head, our body, our time with all sorts of things so that we don't have to feel the depth of our discomfort, the expression of our suffering. But what happens when we do this? What happens when we stay the course of going layer and layer and layer? That we're on that hero's journey. When we're forging that base level elements of our fears and our doubts and our grief and our anger and our rage, our disappointments, our shame. What happens when we sit with those and we allow them to transmute into higher expressions? The first thing that starts to happen is we start to gain an inner fortitude. It's this inner strength and power that we know we can get to the other side of pain, into happiness, into joy, into freedom. That's what these experiences teach us and show us. I'm going to read a few of these. We gain that inner strength. Every time we do this, we gain more clarity because the denser, heavier expressions of our consciousness are not rooted in truth. They're usually rooted in the painful illusions that we've been programmed and conditioned into believing. So when we do this process, we gain more wisdom. Not intellectual knowledge, not intellectual knowledge, but we gain a deep wisdom of who we are, how we tick, why we tick, what motivates us, what is my fears that motivate unknowingly certain actions and behaviors that I might act out in. This is the power of this deeper knowing and being able to live in a higher divine alignment. All right? So there is that deep knowledge of self, know thyself, in every realm of our being, to the depth of our darkness, to the light and the flowering of our multidimensionality, which is our divinity. We gain humility, humbleness as we move through these processes. We come into a deeper level of integrity, that deep alignment where we can stand in our own spine, solid and strong and firm in who we are, why we are, our strengths and our weaknesses both. We own them, we take responsibility, and we allow them to continue to transmute and come into a different expression. This is this is an example, an expression of inner alchemy. When we do this work on an ongoing basis, consciously having the courage to step into ourselves and look deeper, feel deeper, hold space through our discomfort, we are forging a deep capacity to hold all of life and everything that life brings us. We are creating that pearl inside of us that's eventually going to radiate out. So this is where our magnificence begins to be birthed and born. So I really love the words that can be used for magnificence. And I'm going to just read some of them. And if you'd like, just close your eyes and see if you can just feel the frequency, the qualities, the energy that can be received and cultivated in your own being as an attribute, as a part of your divine expression. So, glory. Just breathe with it. Majesty. Feel the shifts. Nobility. Elegance. Dazzle. Beauty. Splendor. Resplendence. Grandeur. And greatness. So as we feel these, I invite you to recognize that there's not an ego construct. When we say grandeur or greatness, this isn't the greatness of an ego needing to prove something. This is a greatness that comes from our own grounding and embodied presence of who we are. We all have these seeds within us, and these are the seeds, these are the blooms, these are the blossoming that lies within, resolving and coming into relationship with our suffering, with our darkness, with our fears. When we don't do this consciously, we might move through things, but we aren't grokking the wisdom, right? We aren't really knowing the power of the transformation that is occurring. And if we don't carry that wisdom, those seeds, those flowers can't fully sprout and then go through their stages of transformation into our magnificence, into our full resplendence. Because what comes along with this is deep self-love, deep self-worth, deep self-knowing that we carry the seeds of the divine within us. And oftentimes to know our divinity, we have to know our darkness. This is the transformation that we are all in. And we're either going to do it consciously and moving into these awakened states with more awareness and ease and grace. Or we're going to do them, through the struggle and looking more at the struggle versus, the struggle is the vehicle to bring me to freedom. Otherwise, life can be just struggle, 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 fear, 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 doubt, doubt, doubt. Right? But when we do this work, because life is just showing us the fear that's in us, the doubt that's within us. It's pushing our edges, right? And we might go, no, I don't want to see that, right? And we may not look. Or we go, okay, life, thank you. I'm going to look, I'm going to feel the discomfort, I'm going to see what's true here, what's not true. And as I do that, I learn more about the light that I truly am. So I hope you find this helpful. I hope you find it magical. I hope you find it empowering. And I hope that you begin to utilize these seeds that have been planted in your own healing journey if you're not already. And for those of you who are using it, continue just to focus on what you're birthing again and again and again. So that is it for now. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do. I would love it. And if this resonated with you, please give me a like. Thank you so much. Many blessings, much love. Have a fabulous day.